I'm Russell Johnson, the District Attorney General for 4 counties here in the 9th Judicial District: Roane, Loudoun, Morgan, and Meigs. I want to talk about the Breanna Runions case for a few minutes. I want to give you an update on where we are, what happened today at the bond hearing, and then give you a timeline for what's going to happen over the next few weeks. As you all know, Breanna Runions was taken into custody by the TBI and Rockwood Police Department on Sunday evening. She was charged with a Class A felony, aggravated child abuse, which carries a sentence of 15 to 25 years at 100% under Tennessee's tougher new sentencing laws for dangerous and violent crimes. Also, she was charged under the state's felony murder statute, which is a life sentence if convicted, with a possibility of parole after 51 years. So felony murder, as we have discussed before, involves someone in the commission of a felony, in this case the aggravated child abuse, and the actions of that felony result in death, in this case a gunshot to a 4-year-old girl that caused her to die, obviously. On Sunday evening, Ms. Runions was arraigned by the magistrate. She was given a bond of $1.5 million, $1 million for the felony murder charge, and $500,000 for the aggravated child abuse. She was appointed to the public defender, and she was set a bond hearing, which was to take place at noon today in Judge Humphrey's General Sessions courtroom. The defendant, along with her attorney, chose to waive that hearing, and there's an order that she and her attorney have signed along with Judge Humphrey that you can get from Ann Golston's office if you so choose. The judge in that order went ahead and set us a status date of September 19th, which is a Tuesday in General Sessions Court. We assume Judge Humphrey will be the judge, but sometimes Judge Terry Stevens, the other General Sessions judge, depending on how the docket is broken up for that day, may hear it. As far as being able to tell you what will happen that day, it's possible, but probably not likely, that there would be a preliminary hearing at some point to get it to grand jury. We have to have a preliminary hearing where the state's burden of proof is to put on evidence that a crime was committed and that the defendant committed that crime. It's a probable cause standard, and so that would move it on to grand jury if the judge so finds we've met our burden. The other thing that could happen, the defendant and the defense attorney could decide to waive that hearing and have the case go directly to the Roane County Grand Jury. The next meeting of the Roane County Grand Jury is Monday, October 19th. It would be aspirational to think that we could get it to the grand jury by that date, given this status hearing on September 19th and it not specifically set for a preliminary hearing. So the next most likely grand jury date we would have for Roane County would be in February. Just to explain to those who may not be local and understand that with a 4-county district and only one criminal court judge, Judge Jeff Wicks, who rides the circuit, and we and the public defender and the attorneys essentially ride the circuit with him, showing up in each county for terms on staggered months. We're only in Roane County and any of the other 4 counties for grand jury 3 times a year. So October, then February, and then ultimately in June of next year is our grand jury schedule. So that being said, I've also talked to you before about other things that delay cases, especially in murder trials. Defense attorneys with someone charged with murder or often other serious felonies want to do their due diligence and will request of the court that their client undergo a mental evaluation. That's an ex parte proceeding that takes place between the defense attorney and the judge, usually in chambers. The state does not participate. We do not get input in the process. Sometimes we don't even know what's going on. We certainly find out at some other point. But the purpose of the mental evaluation is twofold: to determine whether the client defendant is competent to stand trial and whether they were sane at the time the crime was committed. So when that is done, and we ultimately, the state of Tennessee, we're provided a copy of it. If it's not favorable to our position in prosecution moving forward, we have the opportunity to try to rebut it with a mental health expert of our own that will also evaluate the defendant. So it becomes a battle of the experts at some point, and that can cause delay. So that's not to say it's going to happen in this case or it is happening, but just wanting you as members of the media and the public to be prepared for the delay that's natural in the criminal justice system with a murder charge, because a murder charge is obviously the most serious offense and serious case that we try, and the consequences of life in prison or otherwise are so tremendous that that's a good thing for the criminal justice system. And in fact, it's demanded by our Constitution. That's about all I have, other than to say that you should have copies of the warrants. The warrants contain a narrative that have the allegations of the evidence and facts that are alleged to support the 2 charges in the warrants. So I've seen that you all have reported from the warrants in some of your media online. And so if you don't have those, you can get those from Ann Golston's office as well. And then it goes without saying that we certainly want to remember that a 4-year-old child has tragically lost her life in this case. And also, unfortunately, one of her siblings was a witness. So we have that child in our thoughts and prayers, as anybody else that's been affected by this case, this tragic event. We equally pray for them as well. Thank you for taking the time to watch this. If I didn't say, we did it in this format so that we don't get put on the spot with you all asking questions about the facts of the case or the investigation that we really can't talk about, since we have a prosecution ongoing and a potential jury trial with a lot of people out there that might listen to this or see your reporting from it. So thank you for allowing us to reach out to you in this way.